49ers at the Steelers at home.
Kenny Pickett at a QBR of 98. Bear in mind, 100 is the highest you can get. He averaged nearly 10 yards per attempt when throwing to Pickens. That number dropped to 6 when targeting anybody else. So can this become the next great duo in the NFL, Pickett to Pickens?
I believe it's about to be, Greeny. And I think the reality for me is George Pickens is starting to become one of those receivers, and Harry knows this, that the coverage doesn't necessarily matter. I played with Andre Johnson and I played with Calvin Johnson, two guys that as a quarterback you would sit there and go, well, usually I would never throw this ball to that person. But the coverage doesn't matter. As long as I give this guy a shot, something good is more than likely going to happen. And I think Kenny Pickett, and that's the fascinating part of this conversation for me, is does that now vault Kenny Pickett into a different player than maybe I certainly expected him to be because of that connection? Because he gets the line of scrimmage, he's like, oh, I don't care what it is. George is getting this ball. Not only makes that connection better, but it also makes everybody else's job in Pittsburgh offensively easier.
Listen, if you've been with me during preseason, I have not only been wowed by Kenny Pickett, I've been surprised by their defense as well. The Steelers' defense is definitely top-notch, and they're not letting much get through that line. All right? They're playing solid in the backfield. They're playing solid at the line. And you've got this Steelers offense looking to be a true threat. So what does that mean? Well, on the flip side, you've got the 49ers who has the #1 offense in the NFL. Yes, the #1 offense. And I know how much you guys like to hate on Brock Purdy because he's a rookie and he showed up and he didn't play a full season. But if you go back and look at what that man did before he got injured, I'm still going to stand on that hill and say Brock Purdy, if he didn't get injured, would have been in the Super Bowl. Yes. Let's get into it. 56.9% on the matchup predictor for your 49ers, followed up by 42.8% for the Steelers. Getting into the spread, 49ers favored by 2.5. Your over-under is 41 points. Let's open up the depth chart. Mr. Brock Purdy, he is going to be starting for the 49ers, followed by Sam Darnold and then Brandon Allen. Trey Lance is gone. He is gone to the Cowboys, ladies and gentlemen. Running back, Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel's your wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, Juan Jennings, tight end, George Kittle, fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. As far as the O-line, Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, Colton McKevitz. And I want to stop here right now and talk about this offensive line because guess what? These guys are willing to go the distance to protect Brock. There's a difference between an offensive line who actually believes in a quarterback and an offensive line that's just there to get paid and show up just to play. This is an offensive line that believes that Brock Purdy can lead them back to the show after what he did last year. So that's why you're seeing this man have time in the pocket. That's why he's able to maneuver the way that he wants to. People said, oh, we don't have any tape on Brock last year. Well, now you've got tape. So guess what? Week 1, when we see what this Steelers defense can do, if they can ball out and actually go hard against Brock Purdy and company, then I'm a believer. But guess what? Going into week 1, 49ers have the #1 offense. And what does that say? If Steelers can't keep up score-wise, it's going to be an issue. Let's keep it going. As far as the defense for the 49ers, Drake Jackson, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, Oren Burks, Javarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Tashawn Gibson Sr., and Diamador Lenore. As for special teams, Jake Moody, Mitch Wisnowski, Ronnie Bell, and Tabor Pepper. As for your Steelers, Kenny Pickett is going to be starting. Mitch Trubisky, and then Mason Rudolph at the third. Your running back, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, who balled out during preseason. Looking forward to see him. Anthony McFarland is the third. I really don't like this. And I'll tell you why. I feel like they definitely gave Jalen Warren more chances than McFarland. And I get it, putting McFarland at the third, but I just like the explosiveness that Anthony McFarland brings. I'm sure he'll get a little bit more touches in the regular season. But I just feel like Anthony McFarland should definitely get more time. Keeping it going, Deontay Johnson as far as your wide receivers. George Pickens, that Pickett to Pickens combo is becoming a household name. Allen Robinson II, followed up by Pat Freiermuth. Your offensive line is going to be Dan Moore Jr., Isaac Sumalu, Mason Cole, James Daniels, and Chukwuma Okorafor. As far as your defense, Larry Ogunjobi, Keanu Benson, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Cole Holcomb, Elandon Roberts, Alex Highsmith, Levi Wallace, DeMonte KZ, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr. Special teams, Chris Boswell, Presley Harvin III, Calvin Austin III, and Christian Kuntz. All right. What are we doing? What are we doing here? 49ers, Steelers. This is a tough one. Because right now you have, like I said, Steelers team that's renewed, fresh. Kenny Pickett is balling. He's playing at an elite level. And then on the flip side, you've got the 49ers who currently have the number one offense in the league. I'm going to have to go Steelers in a close one. And I'm going to tell you why. As much as I know that the 49ers have a strong offense, I really feel like Pittsburgh is going to come out balling because Kenny Pickett is looking different right now. He's not looking like that same quarterback we seen last year. And Mike Tomlin has basically created a monster before our very eyes. So I'm going to go Steelers by a touchdown against these 49ers. So there you have it. Michael says, hey, Jay, I emailed you since Sunday about Mott. What happened to it? I have to check into it, Mike. I got to go through my emails, but I'll check into it. Faded says, I'm excited about the Fantasy League. Me too, man. Me too. Definitely excited about the Fantasy League. Let me actually check and see what's going on with the Fantasy League and if we filled it up yet. If we have not, I'll drop the link in the chat if you guys want to join the Fantasy League.